Hello and welcome to the Patent Pending Made Simple Testimonial. Today I have Lindsay with me. Alan, how are you doing? Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it, Summer. How are you today?
Alan, sorry, you might have broken up there for me for a second, but could you give us a quick background on yourself and how you learned about Patent Pending Made Simple?
Sure. I'm a geophysicist by training, technologist, been CEO of a firm based on software. Had patents, and we recently came out with a pattern recognition system and needed to get that patented. And having played some with I was looking around for some help to see if there was a simplified way to get the provisional filed. And so, looking around for that, I came across Outlier IP's approach and thought, this makes a lot of sense and a lot more sense than companies that are asking me to write claims first, which seems quite backward.
Yeah, and maybe that's a good place to start. So you were, you had done a lot of the legwork yourself. So you weren't necessarily looking to hire an attorney to do all that, kind of redo that work. You already have some experience with the patent process. So you were in the market for some software assistance, so to speak. And you found some other tools that were maybe making you do a ton of the legal legwork. So yeah, could you explain, what you found attractive about the software, and why you ultimately chose it over some of the other options that you might have considered?
Yeah, what I liked was that it had a very structured approach that I could understand, speaking to the diagrams, and had particular questions that, to me, I could see how they were going to lead to the right answers that were going to provide a supportable patent. And so that structure really helped us to write the provisional fairly quickly and in the proper detail. So that's what I found attractive, was that your team had thought through exactly how the patent needed to work, all of the different angles that we needed to touch on, and made it fairly simple for us to address each of those angles.
Yeah, I say this over and over that like the AI that the software offers is kind of a great selling point or a way to get people interested in the software. But really, what gets them the outcomes is the framework, right? And the structure that we have for how we think about a patent application. Because there's potentially a lot of different ways to write a patent application, but I think unless you have the right process, you may end up missing something. So you may end up missing some important enabling detail, or you may end up missing an opportunity to expand the scope of the invention and to really broaden the scope of the invention out. And our process helps you do that, right? It helps you capture the invention, it enables your invention, or helps you write an enabling disclosure. It helps you think in the alternatives, right? Allows you to put yourself in the shoes of the competitors and helps you really abstract out the invention where appropriate. So that's, I think a big benefit. Whereas I think some of the other softwares you might have considered kind of ask you to put a framework down and then they will help you kind of write application based on that. But most people, I think, need help with that first part, right? It's not the second part that's difficult, I think.
I would agree. And the way you have it set up to where we had to think about an architecture first, and then a system, and then a process, and think of it in all three ways, helped us think through what we were doing much more clearly and articulate it in more defensible terms, I think.
I agree. I agree. Okay, very good. So that's how you chose patent pending made simple. And then what were your experiences using that? Could you maybe highlight one or two for our listeners here?
Yeah, so the way we started the approach was going into the application and answering a set of questions about what was the background in the invention, and all of those sorts of typical questions. And then we related those to diagrams that helped us work through the architecture and the system and the process. For us, then, it turned out we were pretty verbose. And so we wound up expanding into a Google Doc to get more detail. But in the end, all of the structure was there, and your team was able to leverage all of the content we were able to provide. And I was just impressed the first time we kind of hit go and saw the results come back, how clean the output was, how well structured that was. And sure, we had to make edits and do a variety of things, but it got us to a product that looked very quality very quickly.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, for our listeners or those who are watching this, you were one of the first folks to try out the software, I guess the software patent application implementation of patent pending made simple. So certainly there'd be bugs to work out, and you actually helped us work through a lot of them. So I appreciate that. But you're right. I think the output that we got was very, very good. I was showing your patent application to one of my colleagues at the firm, and they were surprised. They were like, "Wow, like that's an an application that is generated with client and software." They were very impressed, and I was too. I think it was a really great starting point, especially for a provisional application. Alan, sometimes I read provisionals that other firms have written, and they're like 2 pages long. This was not that. I think your output was like 30, 40 pages plus. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. For better or for worse, but yes. But I guess my thinking was, if you don't get it in that provisional, it's going to be hard to get it in your patent. And
Yeah.
so we really wanted to make sure we were careful with that and had it all in there. And because of the assistance of your software, we could keep even a fairly long document clearly in mind and well structured. So yeah, I think that will wind up paying big dividends down the road.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think if you don't get it in at the provisional stage, then it may be considered new matter at the non-provisional stage and may get a new filing date, which is not great. So I think what we did was the right approach, and I personally think you got a much better outcome than you know even doing it yourself or hiring an attorney to do it at a kind of a lower price point. I think you were just much better off personally.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was very happy with it, Alan. So you used the software, you filed your provisional application. Would you have any parting words or advice to those who might be listening or might be on the fence about using the software?
No, I would just say that I'd encourage you to give it a shot. It is the nicely structured approach makes a big difference, and um, the group firmly stands behind their software and assists wherever help is needed. So for us, it was a very thorough process, and we felt very supported all along the way.
Okay, good. I'm happy to hear that. Alan, I don't want to take up too much of your time. You've been so generous, not just in doing this, but in also just giving us feedback throughout the process. I think you've helped make and shape the software, and it's in a much better place because of you. So thank you. I am very appreciative.
Well, thank you. I sure appreciate it, Summer.
Yes. Take care.
Take care.